Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. He also said, I am the good shepherd, and the shepherd careth for the sheep. He also said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. And he said, I am the door. And he said, I am the gate. And he said, any man that comes any other way is but a thief and the robber. And the thief is come but to kill and to steal and to destroy. And with that, the wolf, the coyote, has come to kill and to steal and to destroy. Now that was talking about spiritual things, and I'm talking about literal coyotes today. And we're going to build some J-hooks and swivels, everything but the welding. And we're going to have to go over to Pa's house to do the welding. What I'm using here is a number 4 bright common nail. If you get the coated nail, it's slightly smaller. So get the bright common. This is 1 pound. It's 29 nails. I bought this at TSC in November of 2017. You can buy these in bulk at certain hardware stores. I just got a few. See how this goes. I said in the last video I'd like to have a Bob Custer trap bender to do this, but I'm doing it with a heavy Wilton vise and a piece of railroad tie. We'll cut the head off the nail, or the point off the nail, excuse me. Alright. Now another tip, hacksaw is a very useful tool. As far as your blades go, use a high tooth per inch blade. These that I have in is the 32 tooth. That means it's got a lot of teeth per inch. That's for metal cutting. And as far as nails go, that's the one to use for cutting nails. 32 tooth per inch. But a hacksaw will do a whole lot. And they're not very expensive, but you get what you pay for. This is a Popular Mechanics, built back in the early 90s, 1990s. Either you can get them made out of plastic, or you can get them built better than this, but that's what I've got. Alright, back to the bright common nail. Saw the point off of it. I used a piece of axle shaft and put it in my vise to get a smooth bend on it. Now this is slow, but use what you've got, and that's something that I've learned over the years. Try to figure out how to use what you've got. In talking to a farmer that used to be my dad's neighbor, I asked him one time, how do you know how to do plumbing and electrical work and mechanic work and weld and all like that? And he said, being out here, that is in the country on the farm, you have to learn to make do, learn to do with what you got. And that he did. Alright, I made my first bend. I laid that around the shaft in the vise and just pushed with my body weight. Laid him right over, and again, I've got gloves on. The head of that nail will tear you up if you slip. So there we go. There's our first bend. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move it a little farther. And we're going to wrap it on around that, like so. Carrying on with the same bend. You can just take a couple of ball peen hammers and do this and hammer them out, but it makes the edges not as smooth. And working with traps and whatnot, you want everything to be as smooth as possible for your sake as well as the animals. Okay, and that rolled on me a little bit. Now you can smooth it back up, but you can save yourself a lot of work. Now, a piece of pipe, some pipe will work. This is half well, it's a little better than ½ inch diameter, but a piece of pipe will work to do this as well. I see I'm continuing to roll that, making a bend. This is we're doing a J hook right now. The shape of it in a letter J. There we go. Now what we're going to do is crook this neck next. We're going to turn it back so that all you got to do is squeeze down, and I'll show you how all this works together in just a minute. Another tool that I'm going to use here is a set of fencing pliers. You've seen those in some of my other videos, but same tool, very useful for a whole bunch of stuff. Alright, I'm going to take my fence plier, and I'm going to grab the shank up here. We're going to turn him. Like so. Alright, that's somewhat of a finished product. J hook. Now, let me show you how this works in conjunction with what we're doing. Now, such as with this trap, I told you in another video, this is a Duke number 3. It's the plain Duke number 3 2-coil. I want to put this J hook instead of here. I want to put a heavier gauge chain. I'm going to use this size chain. It's rated at 500 pounds. But what you do, you take your J hook. There's a hole here. Take your J hook, run through that hole. Down like that, and then you'll crimp that down on your chain and then weld it. Some folks say you don't need to weld it for coyote. I do. Crimp that down and put a little tack weld on it to hold it together. So that's the J hook. Now the next part, we're gonna make a swivel, and I'll kind of give you a preview to where we're going with that. Same nail. These are 20D or 20 penny. I don't know if I told you that, but we're going to make this shape right here, and that's going to require us to cut the point and the head off of one of these nails. You wouldn't have to cut the point off, but or the head, but it makes it look a lot better and it's safer for everybody. Timber. Off came that. Flip her over and saw the point off now. And yes, I do have a disc grinder and I do have a cut-off wheel. But guess what? I don't need eye injury. And yes, I do have safety glasses. I don't like the dust. I mean, there are times when you have to use a disc grinder. But I don't like the dust, I don't like the smell, don't like the noise. This is not exactly quiet, but it ain't near as bad. If we were doing 40 or 50 of these, yeah, we'd have the disc grinder out. We're just pedaling along, being safe and avoiding the emergency room. That's what my wife told me when I went out today. Do not wind up in the emergency room. Alright, using the same tool that we did a minute ago, the axle shaft. I'm going to open this up and kind of try to find the center point of this nail to make us a smooth bend. Try to get that straight up and down. Now, here's the old fence tool. You've seen that in the fencing error video or fencing mistakes. That slips right down on there. Again, using this axle shaft to do our radius. Do a nice clean radius. There's that part. That's what we've got at this point. I'm going to take my hammer and bump him down. Alright, now I've got a 5/16 nut. And that slips right in there like that. Now, how does this work? How does that make a swivel? And I'm going to plug for Bob Custer's trap bender again. That radius should be a little larger, but that will work. Now what you do, you attach this to your chain. Let me go ahead and do that so you know what I'm talking about. Alright, we got our chain in there like so, or your trap, whatever it is you're wanting to attach. And the nut goes here. And like we've already said, this part will have to be welded in. And you can buy swivels ready built. They're not real bad, $4 a dozen or something like that. Alright, so we got our chain on there. We're trapped. You tack weld that nut to your piece of nail, and then your J-hook slides in there. After it's tacked, of course. J-hook slides down in there. Of course, that's welded. You crimp your J-hook together, and you've got a swivel here also. Everywhere you got a J-hook, it swivels, and then this adds you another dimension to your swivel. So that's how that works. And we've done this. Like I say, I've got a piece of railroad tie off to my right that I use for most of the beating and banging, and then just a vise. But you can do this with a couple of hammers and a couple of sets of fencing pliers. You know, you're not going to be efficient, but you can get it done. And sometimes that's what it's about. You use what you got, and that's very important. And Jesus taught that as well in a spiritual sense, with the parables of the 1, the 5, and the 10 talent men. The 5 and the 10 talent men went and they doubled their talents using what they had. And the 1 talent man, there are several accounts of this, but the 1 talent man didn't do that. He went and buried his talent in the earth and didn't do anything. So use what you got, spiritually, physically. Use your blessings. Thank you for watching.